love does not mean enabling pain. I'm just making this video for anyone that feels confused about as within, so without, because there's a lot of little terms and sayings that sound all theatrical and stuff, and you know, it's more simpler than that. Like, I feel like the way that it's worded, it sounds like something that would stick to people's minds and be very catchy, but when you say it, sometimes it doesn't actually make any sense. So I'm just making this video just to clarify, using personal, you know, experiences and stuff like that. Once you really grasp that concept, it does become more comforting in the sense of navigating the world and everything, right? The whole thing of as within, so without, it's just, bro, how you feel on the inside, the way you think about yourself, your habits, that's where it all shows up at. And it's basically like where you meet yourself is as far as you'll be able to meet everyone else. So I'm basically saying that if you have never passed a certain level of intimacy with yourself, that's something that you're not going to be able to experience with anything outside of yourself. Where I'm able to meet myself is what's going to determine the external experience with other people. And like, that's one of the biggest things that I learned over time, because I used to be the type of person that could never make eye contact with people. I used to, like I said, dislike talking to people. I really it was just such a dark time, you know? It was a very dark time. And like, even when I think about it now, like, because the type of person I am now, it's so crazy to think. I'm like, dang, that was really me. Like, I really used to walk around like that. And it was definitely because I was like hurt too, you know? And it's just so interesting the way that like all this works and how it happens, because I mean, it's 100% true. Because now it's like I love myself so much, and it's like I'm back to the point of where I was when I was like younger, where I just had a very unconditional type of love. It's like being in survival mode, you know? It's like a defense mechanism. Like, I'm so scared of being hurt, or I'm so scared of allowing somebody to take advantage of me, or I'm so scared of something bad happening to me. I'm just so scared of experiencing any type of pain, to the point where I'm allowing myself to walk around with this negative mindset and this negative energy, but to keep myself safe. You know, I'm thinking this way about these people to repel them, to keep them and myself from having any type of experience, also that I won't experience any type of pain.
And this is the part of the as within, so without, where it's a reflection. Because you are saying that you're trying to protect yourself from experiencing pain from these other people, when in reality, you're trying to protect yourself from yourself, your lack of boundaries and standards, which is what ultimately will have you experiencing pain. It's not really so much about the other people, because if you had these things set up to protect yourself and knew to remove yourself from the situation, then you wouldn't get hurt. But because you don't, that's why you get hurt. And the reflection part of it is you trying to blame them and avoid them, versus realizing that you just need to have this protocol set up in order to keep yourself safe.
You know, it actually didn't have anything to do with those people being annoying or being fake or being any of that. It was mainly because of how I was perceiving myself, and different things that I was saying happened to me instead of for me, in the sense of, okay, these are areas within your life and within your internal world that you could take the time to work on, so that you really just realize the bigger picture and how beautiful everything really can be, and, you know, learn the lesson from it, take something from it, take a positive thing from that, you know. But that was in a dwelling stage. You really do gotta come to that understanding. Certain things are bigger than you. I was definitely in a victim mindset, man, like where I was like, anytime something happened, I was always saying like, how can that person be such an evil person to do this to me when I don't even deserve this? Like, I'm so tired of evil people doing stuff to innocent people. That's really how I used to speak, you know, that's really how I used to talk. Versus it being like, dang, why am I putting myself in this situation? Oh, because you don't know any better. Okay, why don't I know any better? And what does that even mean? Okay, you need to have certain type of boundaries. You need to have certain type of standards. You need to realize that you don't need to be around certain types of people, especially if you notice their behaviors. You know, if somebody acts one way and then turns around and acts another way, you know, you have to pay attention to all of that. The main thing is to keep yourself safe. It is not anybody else's responsibility to keep you safe. Like, for example, the whole boundaries thing. That is not for other people to follow. Your boundaries is not for other people to follow. Your boundaries is, these are the things that are non-negotiables. If this happens, I remove myself, because then it becomes a threat. It becomes dangerous for me. It becomes something draining. It becomes something negative. You know, in removing yourself is how, you know, you're showing yourself love. You know, it doesn't really have anything to do with the other people following that. They're dealing with their own things. It's not for you to get mad at them for not following it. It's for you to see the situation. Oh, this individual does not align with me. They're not on the same, and that's okay. I'm going to remove myself. This is not where I belong. And that's how it works, versus it being a thing of, well, I want to be with my family because they're my family members, so I'm going to look past all that. Or I want to be with this person in a relationship because I say that I love them so much, so that's why I want to be there. Or, oh, I want to be friends with these people because I've known them for about 8 years, so regardless of all that. And it's like, no, like, all of this stuff is just to literally point and reflect back at yourself so that you see what you are literally allowing. Like, it has nothing to do with them. It's literally you. Why are you letting these people do that? You're claiming it's for love. Love does not mean enabling pain and enabling, you know, anything that's gonna negatively affect you. The stuff you experience as a child, it starts to come up in your adult age. Like, a lot of people probably just experience that and think that they're just gonna go through life and, oh, I'm not experiencing that no more, so it's just out of my life. And it's like, no, it still exists within your body. It's energetically, you know what I'm saying, it's stored in your body, different things like subconsciously within your mind. There's a lot of like programming and limiting beliefs and different things like that exist within you, and that's gonna start to show up in your relationships, friend relationships. You know, maybe you're like, you know, communicating with your teacher, communicating with random people in the street, romantic relationships, different things like that, you know, and you won't know why. You'll be like, oh, well, that's just my personality. And the whole time it's like, no, it's from trauma. It's from things you haven't healed from. But it makes sense because, like, 9 times out of 10, a lot of people, their parents also experience a bunch of stuff. Look at this tree. Don't those look like eyes? Like, hold on. Like this? Doesn't it look like an eye? Like, this would be the iris. This is like the outer layer of the eye. This is like the bottom part. Like, can you see it? And it's like a repeated cycle. That's where generational curses come from. It's really just a cycle that's not broken. You're all just doing the same thing and nobody's choosing to make different choices. You know what I'm saying? But you can make a different choice, and you can start by, as within, so without. As below, so above. You know, all of that. As within, so without. As above, so below. That's the whole saying. And the as within and so without, it's like, okay, what you going on internally, it's going to show up like with your different relationships and different experiences that you have. That's not to say that you're never going to experience anything like positive just because you got these negative type of emotions on the inside. You still are. But I'm just saying that the extent that you meet yourself on the inside, to have that stuff comes back to you, it starts to show up in your like adult life. And, you know, you can heal yourself. You heal yourself by just being like, okay, well, what's going on? Oh, it's from my mom used to do this and it caused this. That's why I'm like this. Really, this is just an opportunity. If if you're someone who's in that dark stage where you just feel very depressed, you feel low, you feel just like you don't really care about anything, if you're in that stage and you're wanting help, one thing that I would say that you could start off with is healing from trauma, man. Like, you gotta start writing that stuff down. Write down how you feel. Write down why you feel like that. If you don't know why you feel like that, just make a guess, and write it down and try to figure out where it came from, and think about different things that happened in your childhood and what different things you feel like caused what emotion. And like, the deeper you go within that, you'll start to figure some things out. And then you'll come to the understanding, okay, well, really, I shouldn't take it as personal, because you'll realize like your parents also went through some trauma. This is not to make excuses for them, condone their behaviors or anything like that. It's just so that you're not harboring any negative emotions and carrying that around with you. When people talk about like baggage, like it's like a bunch of weights that they're carrying around with them, instead of allowing themselves to be able to flourish and become the person that they really are truly meant to become, but you can't do that if you're hanging on to the past and not letting go of any of that trauma and helping yourself heal from it and blaming everybody and being in a victim mindset. There's always a reason to everything. Everybody goes through different things. Even though it's not your fault, you didn't cause your parents' trauma, just understand that's something that's just how it happens, because they didn't cause their own trauma, their parents did it, and it's like a cycle. So what you're supposed to do is heal yourself from all of that, come to that understanding about the different things that you experience, not even just from your family, if there's different relationships and different things like that. But that's how you you work on the inside out instead of the outside in. What you'll end up figuring out though, once you start feeling healed, you'll start to view the world differently. Everything's a balance. Another thing that I could say about this as within, so without, just stop caring about certain things, and that's not to say stop caring about everything. It's a balance. There's some things you should care about, and there's some things that, really don't deserve your energy. If you resonated with anything I spoke about, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing so that the video reaches someone who may also need to hear this message. Thank you and bye.